Now let's consider our picture. We have PQ, we have QR, we have PR. The angle theta here has been found to be the inverse cosine of 0.22, which I can estimate, I think, fairly accurately to be 78 degrees, but that 0.22 was just a rough estimate. So if you calculate everything accurately, you might come out with slightly different numbers. Still, this is sufficient to show that this is not a right triangle. Okay? Now, just the fact that PQ dot QR is not 0. If this was a right triangle, if this was a right angle, then the dot product of these two vectors would have been 0. It wasn't, so that we could have immediately concluded that this isn't a right triangle. In any case, we also have calculated PQ square root of 70, approximating that as 8.3, PR square root of 110, which I'll approximate as 10.4, and QR, which we didn't actually calculate, but QR was 2i plus 2k. The magnitude is going to be the square root of 8, which is about 2.8. We test the Pythagorean theorem, which is another way to determine if we have a right triangle. Now, we already know that we don't, so we're going to be very surprised if the Pythagorean theorem turns out to be verified for these vectors, but it won't be. Now, the long side of the triangle is 10.4. That's the only candidate for the hypotenuse. So the question is the magnitude of PR squared equal to the magnitude of PQ squared plus the magnitude of QR squared? And the answer to that is no. PR has a square of 110. Does that equal the square of PQ, which is 70, plus the square root of QR, which is 8? Clearly, no. There's also an important inequality in mathematics called the triangle inequality that just states the obvious. The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, so that if we add the two shorter sides, the sum has to be greater than the longest side. If we take this route from P to R, if we take this route, it's got to be longer than this route. And that simply states that PQ plus QR is greater than or equal to PR. And that's easily verified. 8.3 plus 2.8 is clearly greater than or equal to 10.4. The sum is actually about 11.